Welcome to I Finally Get It. This week we have Hunter Thevis, co-owner of S1 Technology. Joining me in studio today, as always, Dustin Webb, our producer. I'm your host, Jeff Martin. Let's get it. If you were going to tell yourself, your younger self, when you got into business, something that could get you here faster, what would it be?
Perseverance, I'd say. I think the ability to take licks and continue to go, even in the face of maybe where a spot where progress doesn't look like it's there. I'd say it had to be that.
I got you. So, the show's called I Finally Get It. So what is it you finally get?
I feel like, kind of dangerous words, I feel like I finally understand people inside of an organization, kind of what makes people click and what makes people find their next gear. I found that in the last year or so of developing our team, adding people to the team, that's something that I feel really good about, kind of on my way to world class at.
That's great. That's great. So how many folks do you guys have?
The end of this month will be about 20 full-time employees.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, you start, have you noticed any points along your growth where you had little ceilings you hit and you had to break through them?
Luckily, I've got a co-founder and another founder that was with us. His name is Jeremy Roth, and this is the second time he's done this business.
Got it.
That we do. And so I think a lot of the things would be potential pitfalls or glass ceilings for us. We've been able to scale past here. That's not to say that'll always be the case, but I think specifically getting us out of the day-to-day operations and into more of the leadership, recruiting, sales efforts, all of that stuff, trying to really scale the business and not work inside of the business. Yeah. That was something where I had some grips on it and I really wanted to.
Oh, no, because we're all control freaks,
right?
You know? So what broke you through with that? Was it studying, reading, modeling what your partner did?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'd say it's that, but then also we're an EOS shop. So traction, EOS, Gino Wickman's book. I don't have any tattoos, but if I were to have something tattooed on my body, it would be traction.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
So I think for us, setting those goals, having the vision traction organizer with our 10-year plan, our 3-year goal, 1-year picture, quarterly rocks, it's really hard not to stick to the script when it's written down on paper like that.
The beauty is in its simplification, man. I'm going to tell you. So you're the integrator in your companies, or
no, so
what role do you play?
A guy named Wade Bearza, very close friend of mine, EOS implementer here in town. I don't think he's taken any more clients on, so you can call him, but he helped us implement. And then since then, we've been self-implementing for the past 2 years.
So who plays that integrator role, though? The one who is handles the facilitation and...
That's Jeremy, my partner.
Is that right?
Yeah, he's...
That's right.
As much as I wish I could be kind of the details integration type person, I have a very hard time with it.
Yeah,
I'm the visionary for us, and he's the integrator, and I'm very thankful that he's able to do that because I think we'd have a lot of unfinished projects if it was just me doing that.
I'm a visionary too, and I can think of about 1,000 things to do and ways to go. You know what I mean? And it's rare finding the blend of visionary and integrator. It's really tough. Mm-hmm. So I love to hear that y'all are working off of EOS, and that's a great way to go. Tell me about yourself. I want to know about Hunter Thevis. Mm-hmm. Tell me what makes you tick.
I'll go back a little bit. I'll give some backstory on me, my experience, and then kind of what drives me. So I'm from here, from Lafayette, and I've always been really interested in technology. My dad was an IT guy at Acadian Ambulance. As soon as I could get a job, I was on the service desk at Acadian Ambulance, and I was answering phone calls to fix printer problems, and hey, my email doesn't work, and hey, the iPad's not doing what it needs to do. So I did that for several years, and then went to school at LSU, studied IT again.
Oh wow!
It's where I met my now wife, Haley, and we kind of decided to move back to Lafayette, and I intended to go to business school just right off. And I did that, but I also started working at a company called Global Data Systems. Okay. Very good company, taught me a lot, showed me a lot of good experiences. And I just realized how much growth there was in this space. You can feel it when you're inside of an organization that's like the entire market is growing, like the flywheel is spinning. And even if you're not trying to achieve progress or like tremendous growth, it's just coming at you because the market wants it so bad. It's a product market fit at scale. So in 2021, we started the business, S1 Technology, me, Jeremy, and then brought on our CTO, Damian Olye. And when I tell you it's the dream team, like it's almost like the A team. You get the one guy that does the one thing, the other guy like takes all of his weaknesses and he's able to do that. Yeah, we've had a really good team doing that. And so all of that to say, what makes me tick is I really love technology, I really love people, and I really, really love business.
Yeah.
Every single part of it, just even the most mundane connective tissue of it. And one of my biggest fears in life is just squandered ability or squandered opportunity. And I feel like we've got such an opportunity to do good stuff, take care of people, and grow a business.
Yeah, we're very similar. One, I'm just a connoisseur of business. I love everything about it. But you said something that reminds me of this. I heard this guy saying, I wonder how many dreams are buried in a cemetery. And now every time I pass the cemetery, I think of it. But it motivates me to say, look, if you're out there thinking it, it's all in the execution. You just got to do it. And so I think you have all three of these key critical things that you need to be in your position. And I love what you said about, your partners kind of balance you out, and their strengths might be your weaknesses, or your strengths cover up their weaknesses. Y'all are set to go. That's great. So what's next for you?
So we've toyed with the idea. We've not talked much about what we do, but we kind of do IT managed services, cybersecurity, take care of small businesses, make sure they're secure, efficient to grow and whatnot. So what's next for us is just to double down on what's been good for us so far, hiring a sales team, just improving our go-to-market, hiring just world-class talent, bringing them here to Louisiana, into Lafayette, continue to take care of our customers. Personally, I'm going to be a dad. So that's what's next. My wife is due in August, and we're going to have a baby boy. So
it's a boy? That's cool. Yeah. Another little Hunter, huh?
That's it, man. His name's going to be George Thevis.
That's great. That's a strong name. Mm-hmm. That's great. So I know your dad was in the IT world, and he worked at Acadian, which is, you can't get much more important than making sure the ambulances and that kind of business is up and running. But who inspired you along the way?
So him specifically, he'd had opportunities to go out and be entrepreneurial, but found that he could kind of deliver more impact inside of Acadian Ambulance. And talking about them for a second, that's a really important job, but they also do it at a super high fidelity.
Absolutely.
There are probably 60 people inside of that organization right now that just do IT. And it's not a public company. It's not a 10,000 employee company. It's just, that's how much they invest in the technology that saves lives and delivers a really impressive product. So I got to see that first and foremost. And I was like, oh, this is what good looks like.
Yeah.
So that inspired me a lot. And then my wife's family, they've got the Dupree Logistics company. Mm-hmm. And so her grandfather's name is Cody, recently passed away last year. He died at 94. I would sit with him for hours at a time, 3, 4, 5 hours of him just telling stories.
Just downloading.
I'm asking questions. He's just like rolling. Yep. He knows what I'm going to ask next, and he's just feeding it to me. And so I kind of feel like while I went to undergraduate and I went to grad school, that was my crash course.
100%. I say the same thing about my grandfather, but I actually got to meet him. I used to do insurance physicals 100 years ago, and I did an insurance physical on him, and he took the time. He was so generous, and he shared with me. I don't recall any one thing. I just recall his generosity with his time. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of cool. So I'm glad we're mentioning him. So that's your wife's grandfather?
Wife's grandfather. And then all along the way, man, you've got these little micro influences that you don't really couldn't even call upon if I wanted to, but I know for a fact that people had impact on me.
Yeah, sure. What's the hardest thing about business since you got out of college and getting your MBA, I guess, right? Mm-hmm. Entering into the entrepreneurial world, what's been the hardest thing that you've seen?
I'd say for us, which it's a good problem to have, the desire to grow too fast.
Yeah, for sure.
We're a services business. Everything that we do is customer service. And we track all these metrics that are leading indicators to customer experience: ticket response time, ticket resolution time, how many threats are interacting with that person's inbox.
Yeah.
All of these things that let you see it empirically. But for us, the temptation is to, when someone calls us and wants to do business, say, okay, let's do business. But what we've had to realize is we need to stagger that growth so that we can maintain that same level of customer experience. For some people, that may seem counterintuitive. They say, well, growth at all costs.
Nah,
but
go slow to go fast.
That's right. Yeah. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And so that's been a big temptation and something that we pay attention to constantly.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we hit this light bulb on that on the go slow to go fast thing, because it is so important because we all want to go as 100 miles an hour, you know? In fact, that was one of the things that I regret most. I went to who I would say is a mentor of mine, Mr. Ned Clark out of Baton Rouge. And he was a long-time banker. And I was getting into the franchise world as a franchisor. And I said, what is the one thing you think I ought to know before I go into business? He said, don't grow too quickly. What did I do? I franchised, and it blew up. We were the fastest growing franchise in America. It was just crazy. So that's one of those things I wish I would have listened to. What is one of the things that you wish you would have listened to that you didn't from somebody?
I listen pretty well.
Yeah.
I'd say if I'm like world class at anything, I'm really good at taking advice from people that are smarter than me, older than me, more successful than me, happier than me. If someone takes time to give me some advice, it's very, very infrequent that I don't take it.
So that's a light bulb moment too. The ability to stop and listen and receive the advice. Because most of the time we don't receive anything. Hey, you look great today. Oh, thanks. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's nothing. But to receive that advice and listen to it, you ever regret not taking any advice?
There's certainly areas where someone will give you some sort of advice where they're simply projecting where they are in life. So, for example, when we started the business, I had someone that I really looked up to say, you don't want to start an MSP. There's a dozen of those, and they're all having trouble growing. I was like, well, I'll show you.
That's good. Now you're glad you did.
Yeah,
huh?
I'm very glad I did. This is a life-changing situation.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You mentioned EOS and Gino Wickman with the book Traction. What's another book that's inspired you along the way?
I really like autobiographies. There's a book that I read probably 3 years ago, but have reread since learning that I'll be a dad, is 38 letters of John D. Rockefeller to his son.
Wow.
And so those letters are really, really interesting because you hear from John D. Rockefeller about like in press and in newspapers and stuff, but these were private letters written to his son that the family released. And so it's really, it gives me chills thinking about it, like the dynamics between a father and his son and the way that he spoke about business and about life and about happiness and about fatherhood, unfiltered.
Yeah.
And so not to say that I aspire to be like that, but it was really interesting to hear an unfiltered opinion of someone who's was a tycoon.
Yeah, no doubt.
The amount of times that he used the word dominant or overcome, you'd never hear him say that in the press or really anybody that's found some success. But sure enough, he was very candid to his son.
So I'm really intrigued. I'm gonna go read the book. At what stage was he writing his son? Wouldn't say dominant and all this while he was a baby, right? Or was he trying to teach his son the lessons of becoming an entrepreneur and tycoon himself?
So they were written over the course of his life, the course of his son's life. Every year around Christmas, he would write these letters. And so it was not at a specific point in time, which is almost even more interesting to me because it's not the final culmination of someone's experiences. It's the ongoing experiences through their life, through the lens of where they are in life, in business. Man, I'll reread that probably another 10 times in my lifetime.
Yeah, I'm going to pick that up. That's for sure. Like John D. Rockefeller, what advice would you give somebody who's starting a business today?
I would say talk to your customers before you start the business. And there's I forget the guy's name, big Silicon Valley guy. He was a football coach. People will remember the name. But his big thing was get out of the building and talk to people. Oh yeah, I remember his name, Bill Campbell. You can sit here and you can concoct this beautiful idea, whether it's software or service or a new healthcare delivery system. But if you don't talk to your customers and find out what they actually want or what their problems are, I should say, then you'll never really have product market fit and you'll never be able to impress them, surprise and delight them, make them raving fans.
Yeah, that's great. You interact with so many people on a daily basis, both your team and your customers. How do you try to leave people different and better just because they met Hunter Thevis? I'm
really interested in people. We were talking about books. I read How to Win Friends and Influence People when I was like 15, and it stuck with me so much. Like remember someone's name, be incredibly interested in someone else. And I think that you do a good job of this actually, but just being present enough to ask good questions about someone's life and shine a light on what they're doing. You can make someone feel like the prettiest man or woman in the room just by asking good questions. Yeah. Try to do that. Try to celebrate things that they may be really interested. Maybe they're really interested in basket weaving, but I can ask 3 or 4 questions that no one ever asks, and they're going to think that I'm the coolest person they've ever met. Yeah, no doubt. Because I'm actually interested in what they're doing. Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in to I Finally Get It. For more information on Hunter and what he's up to now, visit our show notes. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. If you're a business owner and you want to help other business owners by sharing your light bulb moments, reach out to me at jeff@ifinallygetit.com.